Hello, my name is Cody, and welcome to Bards at Heart. This channel is all things tabletop RPGs, anywhere from personal adventures, stories, spells, and more. And today, I'm not really doing anything scripted. I'm just kind of more of rambling about my time as a, I don't know, DM, a player, as well as just what it was like to be a part of an Adventures League. When I was going to school a year and a half ago, now I think, we started playing Pathfinder. A buddy of mine asked me if I would start playing, and I never heard of a tabletop RPG, never experienced what it was like, and we sat down and played Pathfinder for the first time, and it was so awkward for me, and it was so much fun though, because there was this element of adventure and storytelling, as well as this mystery and this randomness that was involved with it, because that was one of the things that compelled me the most, is the fact that, you know, it seems like always the adventurer wins and the hero always wins, but now playing a game where you really don't know what's going to happen was something that super compelled me. And I think that was really what hit on my first idea of actually playing D&D, was this one Pathfinder session. Well, my buddy left for college the following year. He graduated, and I actually decided to, for one reason or another, never even remembered how to play Pathfinder, and certainly never DM'd, and just thought, man, I want to start this again, and eventually just found a group of people who knew how to play, and I just kind of decided, hey, let's all meet up together and just see what happens. Sure enough, we all met up one night, and it was about, man, I think the first session we had, there was probably about 5 to 10 people, and we all played, and it was great. I think I played an elven rogue, Mauricio, and eventually, as we were playing, I actually got the nickname Bloody Mary, just because of how quick I was able to get everyone killed, and that sounds worse than it actually is, but that was our kind of start of our Adventures League, and we didn't even realize it at the time. Well, later I actually met a friend of a friend who actually started his own D&D session. And so I talked with him, and I just said, hey, you know, you're playing D&D and we're playing Pathfinder. Would you want to possibly just merge for one session? And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. And sure enough, me, James, and a few other people all kind of got together, and we played Pathfinder for one session. And I mean, we were surprised with the turnout. We kept inviting people, and sure enough, 30 plus people came at our opening session, and we really didn't know what to do with that. So fortunately, we were able to kind of get some one-shots going and kind of introducing people to Pathfinder. And you know, I remember even creating people's characters, and every single day at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I would sit down with some people and create character sheets. And for those of you who have played Pathfinder first edition, one thing about it is that some of the apps aren't user friendly, and we were using one that you had to manually type in everything. So with some people, we sat down for 3 hours at a time, like either in between classes or in between lunch breaks, and just trying to make them the one character that eventually, when we did build them this character, they actually didn't show up, because they thought that's all that the game was creating characters, and we actually lost quite a few people because of that. A lot of the DMs in that just asked me, they said, hey, can we start using 5th edition? Can we start playing D&D? And unfortunately, at the time, our dean of students won't actually allow us to use D&D just because of the stereotypes that come along with it, and he preferred us to play on Pathfinder. And I just kept on telling them that no, we can't play on D&D because of the dean of students, and we want to respect that. And eventually it just got to the point where I said, you know what? I'll ask. I don't think he's going to approve it, but I'll ask. And sure enough, went to the Dean of Students, me and another DM, Rebecca, and we just said, look, it's literally the same game. It just saves us the hassle of being able to do this. We'll respect whatever rules you have, and we'll just kind of carry on from there. And eventually he just kind of looked at the two of us and he said, the Dean of Students, and he just said, you know what? I really like you guys. You guys seem really respectful of the school and its rules. So we'll allow you to play D&D as long as you just kind of keep the different gods and all the kind of murky stuff that kind of comes along with it. And you know, we didn't mind at that point. We were just excited that we had the chance of playing D&D, and that was actually my first time ever playing D&D. Was I was supposed to go in and support this game, but no idea what it was about. And sure enough, yeah, we started playing D&D, and you know, after that we just kind of built this really tight community of people. We had about 10 to 15 people who would show up on a regular basis, and sometimes they would bring friends over, and sometimes they would just like invite people who were kind of visiting or on the college campus. And we just usually had 2 DMs, kind of like splitting the group up in half. It was great because we would have half of them running one story and then another half running another story. It was great because after the session we'd all meet up and we'd tell stories and just kind of tell like, yeah, I did such and such, and like, you know, Jesse did this and this. And it was just a great interaction that we had, because not only were we just playing once a week, but we were actually like a tight-knit family that was coming together to do this on a regular basis. And what was great was that our school offered a summer camp opportunity, and sure enough, I decided to volunteer to be able to pay off some of those sweet college tuition. And what was great was that I was working with a bunch of high school students, and you know, of course, some of my stories and different things would kind of like bleed into a different conversation that we were having, and some of them were interested in actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. And sure enough, I started a group, I started DMing, and I'd only DM'd probably 2 or 3 times that entire summer. I DM'd once a week, and we had an inconsistent group, but they were still a fun bunch because it's a bunch of high school students who have never played before, and this was their introduction into it. And I was really excited because I remember my introduction back in Pathfinder. It was just great to share that experience with other people. And if you want to hear any of these stories, I first of all recommend comment down below. Just ask me different questions. What is it like to be a DM? What is it like to be on a college campus where you're all living together? Even ask for some of my personal stories. I'm planning on giving a few, but you know, if there's, especially if it's my Adventures League group, if you guys want to have me tell certain stories, just comment down below and I'll try my best to save a video for that. I think with becoming a DM as well as playing Dungeons and Dragons, one thing I kind of had to realize more and more is that it wasn't about me. And that was hard because I didn't realize how like caught up in that mindset of was like, oh, I'm the hero, I'm the main character. And I didn't realize how kind of like caught up in all that I was until, you know, some people, like especially some of the dungeon masters, I can't even speak today. Some of the dungeon masters actually confronted me on it, saying, hey, like, you're kind of being selfish. And that's what I needed to hear. You know, there's a good buddy of mine, and he certainly know who he is. We had a lot of fights, and a lot of them were resulting from me and like how I played and how I was almost robbing people of the joy of being able to play. And you know, that was something when I realized I I felt like I messed up, and I really did. But that's what's great about the game, is that there's especially a lot of people who are willing to kind of put up with some of the crap that you have. So, and especially a well-seasoned character has, a well-seasoned player has seen it all. So they're going to be welcoming to you, and that's what's really enjoyable as someone who's played for about 2 years now, I would think. Yeah. And that's great because I'm actually still a part of some groups. There's actually a few guys over in Quebec who I still play with on occasion. We actually play Pathfinder, which is great for me because we actually kind of reflect back on that time when we first started playing Pathfinder. And for me, that was the first time I ever played a tabletop RPG. And then I actually have a D&D group back here where I live. And that's so much fun because I get to play with so many people who are so well experienced, but I get to play with some newer players, which is always just so enjoyable. Again, if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I have, please subscribe to my channel, as well as if you have questions about, you know, what my experiences were with Pathfinder, D&D, Adventures League, what it's like to be a player, a DM, or any of those, or even how to start your own group, please just comment. I'm not a professional, but, you know, I like to kind of engage with people and talk that way. Well, anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.